Well, hello. My name is Mr. Baker, the music maker, and today I'm giving away all my secrets. It's a very special day. All the secrets to Songmaker from Chrome Music Lab. Cheat codes, if you will. Although there are no cheat codes in music, there's some cool things you can do on this program to make your song sound dope, no matter what. And the first thing we're going to talk about for cheat code number one is some dope drums. Because every great song needs some awesome drums. So let's get right to it. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I love drums. I take them with me everywhere I go. They're wonderful. Now, what we're going to do is set our drums, which are the first two rows right here. Here's a cool cheat code. Go to settings, split beats into one, and there are 4 beats per bar. So what we're going to talk about is what's called a backbeat. In music, the backbeat is on 2 and 4, usually in popular music. So on beats 2 and 4, you're going to put a triangle. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have a triangle on the second and fourth beat of each bar. These bars, 2 and 4. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep that going. Now you have a backbeat. Now let's do this. Go to settings, change it back to 2. Now I want you to start with a circle at the very beginning on beat 1. But besides that, I want you to mess with some of the patterns here and make your own cool random sounding pattern. I'm just randomly dropping things here without thinking about too much of the notes that sounds it's actually going to make. Let's hear how that sounds. I like it. Sounds wonderful. Here's how you can make it even more complex. Go to settings, change that to 4. And now you have a bunch of little dots. I'm going to put some extra circles in here. And then see how this is going to sound. I'm just dropping random circles, not thinking about it, just dropping. Notice I'm not putting putting way too many together. Otherwise, it might sound a little crazy. Spacing them out is always a good idea. Check it out. Great. Now we have a wonderful sounding drum part. Sounds amazing. Fantastic. I'm going to switch this back to 2. Split beats into 2 like we had before. Now I'd erase some of those when we had a split into 4. But now I have a new drum pattern. And I'm going to make this guy a little bit slower. I'm dropping down to 100 instead of 120. Tempo changes the speed of the song. Yeah, I like it. Now my drums are set. So there's your cheat code with the drums, is putting the triangle on 2 and 4, 2 and 4. That's called a backbeat in music. And it's what the listener holds on to lock them into the beat. It's become like buried into our brains. It's pretty cool. Now, cheat code number 2 is going to talk about the scale you use for your notes. The notes are in these squares here. Here's one set of notes and then another one above the thick blue line. A scale is from the bottom to the top, like this, and a staircase kind of thing from left to right. Let's hear it. That's called a scale, and this one's a particular major scale, which means happy. Major means happy sounding in music or cheerful. So I'm going to erase that, and now I'm going to show you a cool little trick to make your pattern sound even more interesting by taking notes away as opposed to adding more. Settings. Our scale, I want you to change major. Instead of scale major, you're going to change that to pentatonic. Major to pentatonic. Major has 7 notes before it repeats. Pentatonic only has 5, which you would think would sound more boring, but it actually creates a totally different sound and makes it more simple for the listener. Scale, pentatonic, check. Now I have a 5-note scale. Check that out. That sounds wonderful. Now, that's cheat code number 2, is to simplify your music by using a different scale, pentatonic scale. And it's going to, no matter what you put in from left to right like that, it's going to sound wonderful. I'm going to make a bass line with that. Let me just throw something together. Now, I'm not stacking anything on top of each other. I am making melodies from left to right. Not yet. You can stack things up later, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm making a pattern. No. Now I have a pattern that moves from left to right. I wasn't thinking too much about how it's going to sound. I'm just clicking random notes to create a bass line, which is everything under this blue line. Let's hear it. Yeah, cool. We have a cool little bass line right there. Now, another cheat code is going to be to think in shapes and patterns and make shapes. Let's make a V shape here. Now I'm moving up to the melody. I'm cool with this bass line. It's not my favorite bass line, but it works. So here's a little V shape I made going down and back up. What if I take that same V shape and let's just start it over here and put it right there. Same pattern, but different colors. Now I'm going to do that same pattern from before for repetition. And now I have a cool little pattern flow moving across. And then I'm going to change, let's make a new shape. 2 in a row, then 2 in a row below that. And then let's do that same shape right there. And now I'm thinking in shapes to where it'll create repetition for the listener to hold on to. Check it out. Yeah, great. Sounds awesome. Now, cheat code number 4 is stacking notes, but you got to be careful with this one, and this one's important not to overdo it, because we talked about music moving left to right. And if there's too many things stacked on top of each other, like these are on top of each other, and it's okay, they're spread out. But let's talk about when you stack things on top of each other too much and how it interferes with the sound. Let's just do that. Let's make this whole row stack, and let's hear how ugly that note sounds. It's too much. Too much happening in one note. But what happens if we kind of spaced it out like that? Now I changed my original shape, but that's okay. Let's hear this. Now let's make another one where I'm spreading out. Let's do like something like this. And now I have these stacked up, but nothing in between, nothing filling in the gaps. You want to leave space in between if you stack. Now I have like an M shape, like a letter M kind of with some empty holes in there. Now let's do a stack right here. I'm just randomly doing stacks, but I'm spacing them out. And when you space them out, it won't sound too crazy or congested to the listener. Let's hear it. Move my fat noggin out of here. Check it out. Yeah, cool. I don't like this first chord too much. I'm going to take away a few. Yeah, sounds great. Now let's talk about cheat code number 5, which I kind of showed you a little bit earlier. If you split beats into 4 instead of 2, now you have a lot of spaces in between the music you already made. Now you can fill in some gaps in here. You can do some more stacks, or you can also like make a little trail where there's some empty space. I'm just adding little lines. Remember, left to right, I'm not stacking them up. And so now I have little lines interjecting in between the spaces that we had before. Since we split our beats now into 4 instead of 2, let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, so let's go over all those again. Let me see if I can remember them all. Number 1 was to make our drums sweet by making a triangle on 2 and 4. Number 2 was to change our scale from major to pentatonic so you have 5 notes to work with instead of 7. Less sometimes is more in music because simplicity goes a long way. Number 3 was to think in shapes. You want to have simple shapes repeating themselves over and over to create repetition for the listener to hold on to. Number 4, we talked about stacking notes up to create what's called chords. I didn't tell you that before, but when you stack notes on top of each other, it's called a chord when they all line up and play at the same time. And then the next thing we talked about was splitting our beats into 4 to create what's called 16th notes, so you can add little flurries in the spaces between the notes you already have. I hope those 5 little simple quirks and tricks come in handy to make you explore different creative options when you make your next masterpiece. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Thank you for all your awesome requests. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Keep up the good work and keep on making music, you beautiful, beautiful people.